Imagine this, three fiery revolutionaries, Muka, Mauricio, and Elerio, find themselves in the grip of a military coup in Uruguay. Whisked away to a grim new prison, our heroes are blindfolded, stripped down, and cuffed. Talk about a bad first impression. But wait, it gets wilder. The officers then try to suffocate them. Fortunately, our trio are tough cookies and they survive, standing tall till dawn. The next day, they're greeted not with breakfast in bed but a creepy wall inscription urging them to abandon all hope. Talk about a motivational message first thing in the morning. And the fun doesn't stop there. Any dreams of secret midnight chats are dashed as letters from the Ministry of Defense strictly ban any yakking with each other or the guards. Just when you thought a good night's sleep might bring some relief, think again. The soldiers have other plans, keeping the night alive with their door-banging symphony. Fast forward a year, and things take a slight turn towards the luxurious. Our revolutionaries get a cell upgrade, this time with beds. Oh, the luxury. But the spa treatment continues as the military chief drops by for a not-so-friendly visit, and Mauricio gets wind of some concerning news about family visits. And just when a ray of light appears during a family visit, tragedy strikes as Mauricio's father collapses. Stay tuned for the next episode in the saga of resilience and fight against oppression. Here's the scoop. After a whopping 803 days of lockup, our heroes Elerio and Mauricio get the holiday shuffle to even tinier digs. But hey, it's Christmas, and while the guards are off making merry, Elerio taps out the world's loneliest jingle bells on the cell wall. Luckily, Mauricio's next door and taps right back. Cue the improvised Morse code Christmas cheer and the beginning of the world's quietest chess tournament. Fast forward to a slight restroom predicament, Elerio, cuffed to a pipe, needs a break. Calling for a guard turns into an absurd chain of command comedy, ending with the big boss fuming over a toilet trip. But wait, silver lining, Elerio scores a discarded newspaper while on his bathroom adventure. Talk about a scoop of freedom with your flush.
In an unexpected twist over in Uruguay, amidst the dreary conditions of prison life, Mika's mind seems to be spiraling into chaos as he starts chattering away with an imaginary version of his mother. Now, talk about bad timing. His real mom shows up hoping for a visit, only to get the cold shoulder from the guards and a free shower courtesy of the rain outside. That same night, the plot thickens as the men find themselves shuffled off to a new cell block, where the local wildlife, aka rats, greet them in their not-so-cozy, yet surprisingly spacious new digs. They're barely allowed to stretch their legs. Come daybreak, after a restless night fueled by an officer named Variola blabbing non-stop about his crush, Mauricio sees a golden opportunity. He butts in and strikes a deal. Love advice in exchange for pen and paper. Variola, totally lovesick, bites the bait. But the lighthearted hustle doesn't stop there. No, sir. The next day Mauricio finds himself in hot water, or perhaps a hot seat, as Sergeant Alamora interrogates him. Curious about the mastermind who turned Variola into Casanova overnight. What can we say? A little love letter goes a long way, even in prison.
And the plot thickens. Mauricio, the prisoner with a flair for words, pens yet another letter on behalf of the head honcho, Alamora. Impressed with Mauricio's literary prowess, Alamora lets him keep the writing materials, giving his cell some library vibes. Then, whoosh, a plot twist, Mauricio is summoned for a lavish meal with Alamora sharing juicy details about his crush. Cue another crafted letter. Hold your breath. As the football match's commentary blares through the radio, goals are scored, and excitement crackles through the air. The prisoners are all ears, almost feeling the turf under their feet. Amidst the frenzy, Mauricio's pen doesn't stop. He writes yet another captivating letter, stirring more intrigue. But wait, there's more. In yet another thrilling scene, our prisoners are shuffled off to a new location. As the truck briefly halts, Mauricio, seizing his moment like a true protagonist, asks to remove his blindfold. The obedient soldier complies, perhaps a little too easily. Ah, the suspense. What moves will Mauricio make next in this high-stakes game? Upon arriving at his new prison digs, Mauricio was greeted not just by sunlight but by a cell door that was actually ajar. Talk about an upgrade. Meanwhile, Mika battles his inner demons and vividly dreams of being chased down by a cop. As for Utaro, he's dipping into nostalgia, conjuring up images of his wife joining him behind bars. Quite the romantic, isn't he? Just as they're getting used to the place, boom. Another move. Despite the prison hopscotch, Elario and Macho keep their bromance alive through coded wall knocks. And get this, Elario gets to spin a tall tale to his visiting daughter, but just as he's speaking, the guards whisk him away. Talk about a cliffhanger. The next scene throws everyone for a loop. The guards roll in like it's Christmas, bringing in a table, a chair, books, and, no kidding, a radio. It was like the prison version of an Oprah giveaway. You get a radio, you get a book, everybody gets comfort items. Who said detention couldn't have a little flair? Oh, what a twist! Just when the prisoners were getting cozy with their surprise treats and extras, bam! Turns out, it was all a sneaky strategy by the guards. They played nice just in time for the big show, a review by the International Red Cross Committee. The sneaky soldiers warned the prisoners to zip it about the bad stuff or else, right before their big interview. Elario was up first, pumped to spill the beans and expose the grim truth. But with a glaring soldier shadowing him, he chickened out and stuck to the rehearsed script. Bummer. After playing their part, the prisoners marched back to their cells, only to find everything cool they'd gotten vanished into thin air, back to square one. Oh boy, what a roller coaster. Imagine this, a few days after Elario's not-so-relaxing respite from his grim conditions, the military big shot rolls in, wanting a chit-chat. During a nosy poke around Elario's digs, the soldiers stumble upon a curious find, a bar of soap. But wait, it's not just any soap, it's got markings on it. The commander jumps to conclusions, thinking Elario's dabbling in some secret spy stuff. But plot twist, Elario shows it's just doodles, meaningless scribbles. The commander, caught in his own blunder, can't help but chuckle, ruefully wishing he'd taken a harsher approach with Elario back when they grabbed him, right when the military was pulling off a sneaky government takeover. Fast forward, and we find Elario hunkered down with buddies in a house, soaking in a rather spooky silence that's crept over the area.
Well, folks, buckle up because what unfolds next is straight out of a high-stakes drama. As the owner of the house, likely a buddy of Elario's, bravely steps outside to surrender, the plot thickens. Picture this. She walks out, hands up, hoping for mercy, but what does she get? A barrage of bullets. The soldiers, without skipping a beat, start firing wildly, turning a peaceful surrender into absolute chaos. Inside, the woman and her unlucky husband don't stand a chance and are gunned down.
Meanwhile, as the dust settles and the echoes of gunfire fade, the soldiers get sneaky. They place guns in the hands of the now lifeless couple, making it look like they shot first. Talk about a twist, huh? Fast forward, and one curious soldier heads to the restroom and, oops, spots blood dripping from the ceiling. Bet you didn't see that coming. He quickly informs the big boss, the military chief, sneaking a bit of, there's a problem, into his report.
Nonchalantly, the chief tiptoes to the restroom, as casual as one can be in a house full of secrets, ready to uncover the mystery lurking above. And there you have it, a scene filled with suspense, a dash of deception, and just a touch of dark comedy.
In an unexpected twist, Elario nearly faces his demise when his soldier raises a gun to shoot, but suddenly his partner yells out that they're defeated and hanging out in the ceiling, waving white flags. Just in time, two officials crash the party, spoiling the chief's murderous plans by ordering a rescue mission instead of a shootout. Fast forward to an intense face-off where the military chief lays down a fiery verdict, declaring Elario is destined for nothing short of eternal damnation. But, hold your horses, because Elario isn't bowing out just yet. He owns up to his revolutionary rap sheet, yet boldly claims he is unbeaten, brushing off the chief's gloomy jail time for life forecast. Prison? Meh, Elario scoffs, ready to take it on chin if it means squaring his dues. Next scene, Muir's dramatic reunion with his mother tugs at the heartstrings. She brings goodies, hoping for a happy chat, but Muir's not quite himself. He's hearing voices and can't stop the mental merry-go-round inside his head. Worried about his safety, he shockingly tells his mom to cut her visits, fearing she might get dragged into his mess. With a heart full of love and concern, she begs him to snap out of it, fearing for his life. But poor Muir is at a loss, drowning in his own troubling thoughts. During a lively prison bash, Muir decides to crank up the drama. He starts howling for the goodies his mom dropped off, totally crashing the party vibe. Just as his tantrum hits peak volume, in swoop the guards, desperate to shush him. But wait, Muir's got an ace up his sleeve. He threatens to spill the beans on one guard's secret affair, right there at the bash. Bam! He gets exactly what he wanted. The next day, jittery about Mua's explosive antics, the guards zip off to tattle to the boss. Meanwhile, Mua, joining the dock for a heart-to-heart, confesses he's been chatting with some invisible pals in his head. Diagnosis: delusional psychosis. The prescription: pills and more Zeds. But Mua, he's all about books over bedtime, wanting to scribble down his whirlwind thoughts. Fast forward to day 2757, and it's showtime. Democracy's big comeback is on TV. But with the volume cranked up, the prisoners are still straining their ears. Poor guys, can't catch a break. Well folks, buckle up for a wild ride in prison land. Imagine this: Mauricio and his pals minding their own business, when out of the blue, soldiers barge in and start doling out beatings. Talk about a tough day at the office, right? Fast forward a few days and they're shuffled off to a new home, this time where they can trudge around hooded like they're in some low-budget spy movie. And get this, on day 3053, yes, you've got that right, 3053, they hit the prisoner jackpot and move to an upgraded facility, which just so happens to be Allura's old stomping ground. Talk about a small world. But wait, there's more. Mauricio is reunited with a sergeant whom he once helped play Cupid for, and boom, the guy's now married to the lady he wrote to. Feels all warm and fuzzy, doesn't it? So, what does Mauricio wish for now that he's got a fan? Just some good old yard time with his buddies. Cue the reunion scene. It's emotional, it's joyful, it's like a scene out of a feel-good movie. Fast forward again to day 3989, and they're back at their original prison digs which, surprise, surprise, have gotten a facelift. Uniforms back on, they're moved to a nicer section where, get this, Elerio decides to make believe he's Messi running around playing football. What a way to keep the spirits up, right?